Well, my name's Julie Enriquez, and Teresa just wanted me to share a few minutes about my personal story. And the reason that Rachel's Vineyard is so near and dear to my heart is I was a participant in 2008 in Killeen, Texas. I was, and it completely changed my life. I mean, on the retreat, I met Christ. I know it was a clergy member. I went to a Protestant retreat, so, but he may as well have just been Christ. I met Christ on this retreat through the Living Scriptures, and it completely changed my life. And he told me, go and sin no more. So I went and sinned no more. I mean, from my past life anyway. So, but just a brief story. Do you want me to tell? When I was 16, I had an abortion. I grew up in a nominally Protestant home. My mom died when I was 10, and my dad was very distant. I mean, clinical, statistical case of a girl who would be in an abortion situation. My dad was emotionally distant, he was physically distant, he was there, but basically I was neglected in my own home. And so, of course, naturally, I turned to other men, to boys, for that validation and for that love. And I ended up with a 24-year-old man, and I became pregnant. And already having the fear of abandonment of my mom dying, my dad not being around, my brothers and sisters scattered to the wind. I was home alone a lot as a child. And then to have this man who told me he loved me and then found out I was pregnant, and he abandoned me when he found out. So it was an ongoing theme in my life. But a friend of mine took me to, we looked in the phone book. I thought I was pregnant, I had no idea, but we looked in the phone book. She found Planned Parenthood, and I made an appointment. And I went in and did the pregnancy test. And the first thing she asked me, well, she came back in and she told me, yes, I was definitely pregnant. And the next thing that came out of her mouth, well, wait, that's not true. She first asked me, is there anyone to help you? And really, I had no one to help me. I couldn't even tell my dad that I talked to boys, or that I, snuck out at night to be with boys. How can I tell him that I'm pregnant? He didn't even know I talked to boys on the telephone. So I said, no, I don't have anybody. The next words that came out of her mouth was, when do you want to schedule your abortion? She didn't offer, bring your dad and I'll help you talk to him. Here's some resources. Here's an option for adoption. Nothing. When do you want to schedule your abortion? And I'm 16 years old. I have no support. I have no one to help me. And I'm facing life and death decisions on my own. And so I just scheduled the abortion. I thought it was what I had to do. Nobody could know I was going to be pregnant. Nobody could know, we're supposed to be good church-going people. How am I supposed to tell people, show up at church 9 months pregnant? I mean, I would disgrace my family. I couldn't even imagine telling my dad this. So I went through with the procedure, but on that day, something else died within me. It wasn't just the child. Part of me died. And I completely walled myself off. I said, I'm not going to hurt like this again, ever in my life. Nobody's going to hurt me like this. And I put a huge wall and a barrier around me so I could protect myself. And I lived the rest of my life that way. And I was very hard, I was very cold, I was very cynical. I turned to drugs. But by the grace of God, He kept drugs from me, and I did not develop an addiction. I turned to alcohol. I was very promiscuous. I didn't care who I was with. I was in college at that time, and you know the reputation of colleges. That's what people do, unfortunately. And it was just a horrible life. I was miserable. I shoved everything down. I didn't have nightmares. I didn't have recurring images or thoughts because I thought I had to do it. It's over and done with. Let's just shove that down. We'll lock that away and put it aside. And I didn't even know that my symptoms were connected to the abortion until after Rachel's Vineyard, when I started learning about post-abortion trauma. And then it dawned on me, oh, that's why I'm this way. That's why I'm so disjointed. That's why I'm so disconnected from everybody. So, to make a long story short, I suffered through these symptoms. I did eventually marry my husband, who was my knight in shining armor. He's wonderful. but I didn't deal with the root of the problem. I stopped the drinking, I stopped the bad behavior, but I didn't deal with the root of the problem, which was my abortion. And so eventually it came up again, and I ended up finding out about the Rachel's Vineyard. And I thought, oh, I don't need this. Actually, I wanted to volunteer at a crisis pregnancy center in Killeen, Texas. She came and spoke at a women's Bible study, the director. And I said, oh, how I would love to be able to tell girls who are in the situation I found myself, there's choices, there's options. You don't have to do this. You don't have to live with this. So I told her, I'll scrub the toilets, I'll answer phones, whatever you need me to do, just can I come help? And she said, oh, sure, you can come help, but if you've had an abortion, you need to go through Rachel's Vineyard. And I thought, okay, well, I don't need that. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing, you know, I'm not having nightmares and all that stuff. I'm functioning, I'm fine. And I almost didn't go. I was driving there, and if she hadn't told me to pick up another person, I think that was her trick to get me to make sure.
Sneaky guys.
Yeah. Will you please pick up so-and-so? So I had to go because she's counting on me for a ride. So we showed up, and I thought, I shouldn't be here. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. The first exercise with the rock, I broke down crying, and really, it changed my life. And so I think now that's my mission, is to get the word out about Rachel's Vineyard, that it changes lives. And not only did it change my life, it changed my marriage. It changed the lives of my children. It changed every person I meet now. They're not meeting a wounded, damaged, self-destructive person. They're meeting someone who's been changed by the love of Christ. And I can then share that love with them everywhere I go. So, I mean, it's just amazing. And I want to thank you, Teresa. I know that it was God that put this in your heart to do, so. But I want to thank you.
She said she's available to speak in any of your churches if you wanted to have a testimony after, after communion or something, to invite other people.
Yeah, and can I just say one thing? A woman who has been healed from a past abortion experience is a mighty weapon in the hand of God. So, thank you.